Welcome, everyone, to the Appalachian Hills. Welcome to Pocono Raceway. Race 9 of the Winstel Cup Series season comes from here, the Tricky Triangle, 2.5 miles, 3 corners. A lot of compromise will be needed tonight. 43 drivers on the racetrack attempting to go racing here in Pocono Raceway. We're glad you're with us here on ABN for the Winstel Cup Series. The run through the chase for the Winstel Cup is right here. A lot of excitement going into this race. It was a very exciting race last season. Expecting more of the same here tonight. Here are the points going in to this race at Pocono. Jose Willis Jr. breaks into the 4-digit mark, 1,008 points. Just 4 points ahead of Christian Budd. They're the only two right now above 1,000 points in the season so far. Emily Howe not far behind, 32 points away. Gabriel Mauricio stays top 5. So does Dylan Roberts. Brennan McGee stabilizing his best performance as a driver so far in modern Winstel history. He sits 6th after 8 races, 112 points off of the points lead. Mike Rasmus, Sean Pelle, Christina Ryan, and Brandon McKissick right now sit in the top 10. If the chase started today, these would be your championship contenders for the chase for the Winstel Cup. Those on the outside looking in to the top 10. Kirk Marble, it's close margins there between 10th and 11th place. Nick Doucette, also not far away. Jacob Potak, your defending Winstel Cup Series champion. He has had a feast or famine season. He'd be out of the running for the championship if the chase started today. Evan Locke in 14th place. Andrew Ferrier 15th. Colin Keister, 2-time race winner this season, would also be missing out on the chase as things currently stand. Josh Chen, Parker Alexander, Blake Cannon, and Michael Guest would round out your top 20 in the points going into today's race. Andy Trupiano, Lucas Davila in 22nd. Behind Trupiano there, Ryan Andrew 23rd, Tyler Head, Philip Snipes, Alex Bates, Brandon Cobbinger, Tom Willett, Larry Pace, and Tyler Murray. Right out your top 30, all of them locked in and safe to be able to qualify for this event. Brandon Cruz, Ryan Moyer, Ryan Hill, TJ Crampton, and Jeff Yenich are the ones in relative safety. They were locked into the top 35 going into today's race. Aaron Smith, Ryan Daly, Kyle Benson, Evan Melanson, Tom Wetmore would all be on the outside looking at having to qualify their way in to this race today. More drivers having to qualify their way in, having to pre-qualify. Jordan Barabee, Thomas Lewandowski, James Grantham, Craig Lautenslager, Anthony Kroback, Chris Champeau, Steve Brown, Lucas Strayer, Bryce Saucier, and Corey Cook, rounding out your top 50. A lot of your drivers that have struggled to make the field here: Hayden Rapa, Alex Chilcutt, who's been part-time, Ken Huff, Corey Steinhauser, Austin Reedy. Drivers that have struggled to cope with the expanded Winstel Cup Series grids. Again, Winstel's been averaging 56 to 60 entries for each race. Only 43 get to really race in the Winstel Cup Series events here, so a lot of cars being sent home. So you're seeing a little bit of that as we look further down the order. Bailey Thompson's only made 1 race. Rocky Boyd III, he's made 2 races, but he's had troubles in both of those races. Logan Kress made his first start last week. Finished top 20, but has a lot of work to do to try to race into the field here. You kind of see where everyone is at the moment. You see there's Ryan Doucette, Tyler Saville, Ethan Winters. Some of these drivers, Ethan Winters especially, one of those that made his debut a week ago. We'll see how things play out here for him. But as you see, now over 80 drivers have made an attempt to qualify for a Winstel Cup Series event. Qualifying has been settled, so let's go into your starting grid here for the Pocono for the Pocono 500, excuse me. Front row is where you'll find for the first time this season. It is the 88s and the 8s. Blake Cannon on pole position. Dylan Roberts on the front row alongside debutant Colin Bowden in row 2 alongside Josh Chen, Colin Keister in row 3 alongside Lucas Davila, Evan Locke and Tyler Head in row 4. Your top 10, Mike Rasmus and Dan Breckus. Jordan Barabee qualified in. He starts in row 6 alongside Nick Doucette, your points leader in row 7. Jose Solis Jr. You can see the field scroll at the bottom of your screen. Some heavy hitters throughout this field. Again, 43 cars set to go racing here in Pocono Raceway. Vincent Crowe qualified this race 31st position. This is his debut. Logan Kress qualified in the 39th position. Not exactly where he wanted to be, but it's a start. I'm going to see the full qualifying results. Jordan Barabee, 53.833, a hundredth better than Dylan Roberts for that pole time. Colin Bowden, he's making a really good impression here for his first race. Qualified third. Again, some heavy hitters here. Tyler Head, he has been in the carousel. This is his third car of the season from the 04 to the 4 for Morgan McClure Motorsports. He starts in row 4. A former champion of the series. Jordan Barabee in that conversation. Nick Doucette, Jose Solis Jr. mentioned, starting alongside Sean Felleck in row 7. Jacob Potak, the defending Winstel Cup Series champion, row 8. Heavy names outside the top 10 with some work to do here in Pocono today. Thomas Lewandowski, again, qualified his way into the show. He starts 21st alongside Philip Snipes. Ryan Andrew in 23rd behind him. Avians voted most popular driver 6 years in a row. Christina Ryan in row 14, 28th for the 84 car. Not about where you qualify, about where you finish. Christina Ryan has been pretty well part and parcel for that, gaining an average of 14 positions per race from qualifying is how things sit. Brandon Cruz, top 30 in qualifying as well. You look at some of the drivers that did not set qualifying times. That's where you find Brandon McKissick, Logan Kress, Ryan Moyer. Near the back of the field, Alex Bates qualified 35th in his Domino's 00 machine. And they have Parker Alexander, Andy Tripiano, and Jeff Yunish rounding out the field. Jeff Yunish, 35th in points. 43rd will not cut it. He needs to gain some positions pretty quickly to see how that all fans out. It's time to get ready to go racing here in Pocono Raceway. We're glad you're with us on YouTube. Our ABN's coverage of the Winstel Cup Series from lights to flag. Cannon, Roberts, Bowden, Chen. Your front of the field. The green flag flies, and the Pocono 500 is underway. Trouble further back. Car in the fence, Potak. Everyone keeps it safe except for Kirk Marble behind. Kirk Marble back in the field is spun. Not seeing a lot of damage on that 09 car, so he does recover. It is the wacky opening lap as Blake Cannon leads Colin Bowden across the line. Down pit lane, Logan Kress. So his race starting off poor. Colin Keister qualified this race in 5th, battling for that 3rd spot with Dylan Roberts, that Altel Penske Racing Dodge. Trying the surge forward here. Through turn 2, the tunnel turn. He gets clear. Fan out in that battle for the race lead. Bowden trying to go to the late race lead here. No dice. Not down the front straightaway. Blake Cannon right off of winning his first Winstel Cup Series event a week ago. In the hot seat to try to go back-to-back. Here comes Colin Keister, the 12, up to second place and clear as Josh Chin moves up into the 4th spot. A lot of positions being jockeyed for at the moment. Bunch of cars under a blanket right now. Here's a good battle. One of several going on at the moment. Philip Snipes, Christina Ryan. Christina Ryan up 5 spots. Gabriel Mauricio also in that mix. He's not happy to be back in the 24th spot. And Brendan McGee's going to try to make it more difficult as well. Christina Ryan on the charge. Make that 7 spots gained around Rasmus and the 43 of Ryan Andrew up to 21st. Brendan McGee was trying to follow that train through. Couldn't quite get all the way through. But everyone jockeying for positions right now. The 91 being swallowed up just a little bit. That's where you'll find Vincent Crowe. Brandon Cruz also in that conversation right now. Brandon McKissick started this race near the back of the field. Didn't set a qualifying time. He's up 11 spots already, up to 27th. At the front of the field, it's a battle between Keister and Cannon into turn 1 for the lead of the race. Cannon the 88, the dark chocolate machine. The blue number 12 for Colin Keister, the 2-time race winner, your Daytona 500 winner to open up the season. Side by side they drive through turn 3, still side by side the entire lap. Cannon led that lap. A little bit of battling further back. I believe this is Davila and Evan Locke. It is the 19 and the 33. Keister, I think, had the fence going into turn 3 there. Slowed on up just a little bit, and the caution has come out for the first time tonight. I believe it's for Vincent Crowe with the 91. He is slower on the racetrack. So let's take a look. He was battling with Andy Ciupiano here. This is out of the final turn. Just gets a little bit loose. Recoils across the nose of the 06. Could have been a way worse crash for both of them. Instead, both survive with minimal damage, thankfully. And that'll be a lifesaver for Kirk Marble and for Logan Kress, who had troubles on the opening lap. Helps them out pretty significantly. So Blake Cannon leads the way at the moment. Blake Cannon, Colin Keister, Colin Bowden. Your top 3, Josh Chin, Dylan Roberts. At the front of the field. Pit stops early on for just about everybody in this conversation. So while pit stops are underway, we'll take a time to shout out some of our Patreon subscribers. Our Premier Tier subs have done an amazing job helping us keep the lights on here. Trails Logan, Dogman2935, Nick Zora, B-Dogs, Eli Sasek, Jason Scott, Alfred Denny, Weekend Hobby 22, Philip Snipes, Blue Jade, Tyler Head, and Colin McDonough. Thank you so much for your support on Patreon so far. Fuel only or topping off and grabbing 2 tires is most of the fuel. I think this was a top off of fuel for just about everybody. So everyone making some pretty quick pit stops here. Jeff Yinich stayed out, so did Jose Solis Jr. Jose Solis Jr., we saw him drive through pit lane. He did not get to his box. Overshot it. Tyler Murray also stayed out here. I think he also missed his box. Both of them were on pit lane, but did not stop, which is painful. If you want to join those, we just shouted out during this first caution, the QR code, as well as in the description down below, can help you get started. A lot of exclusive content coming up, a lot of new things coming up beginning in May. We have ABN State of the Studio in on Wednesday, kind of going over some projects, going over some plans, kind of going behind the scenes here in ABN as you see Solis and Murray come back down pit lane. So does Larry Pace. Get shout-outs like the ones we mentioned earlier. Premier tier subs get shout-outs every broadcast. Every Patreon subscriber is in that ticker down below at the bottom of your screen. The support is greatly appreciated here as we work to keep the lights on here. It is Jeff Yinich from last to first. He leads the way for this first restart of the night. Colin Keister, Blake Cannon, Colin Bowden, and Dylan Roberts make up your top 5. As we get ready to go back racing. Nick Doucette, Tyler Head, Larry Pace, Josh Chin, and Mike Rasmus, your top 10. As things currently sit. Looking outside the top 10, you got Lucas Davila in 11th, Evan Locke, Sean Pelleg, Ryan Andrew, and Jordan Barabee in your top 15. Your top 20 is where you find Dan Breckus, Austin Reedy, Emily Howell, your defending Winstel Cup Series champion, Jacob Potak, and Andrew Ferry-Nares in that top 20. But it's Jeff Yinich that leads the way from last to first. We go back racing here for the Pocono 500. And immediately everyone fans out, looking to take that lead away as they go down into turn number 1. Yinich drives super wide through turn 1 because he knows there's a 3 wide coming. Keister to the front of the field by the tunnel turn. Bowden to second. Here comes Roberts trying to get around for third. And Jeff Yinich on old tires being swarmed. Important for Jeff Yinich to grab those laps led. That's 5 bonus points to lead a lap here in the Winstel Cup Series season. For those unfamiliar with the Latford system that was used in 2007 for the Cup Series. 5 bonus points for leading a lap. Another 5 bonus points for leading the most laps here in the race car. In the fence, that's Sean Pelleg. Mooncar driver Sean Pelleg sitting right now out of turn 1, ran most of turn 1 up against the fence. And now down in 15th place, losing a spot to Jordan Barabee. On board with Ryan Andrew as he sits in the madhouse. You have everyone upshifting. Everyone shifting from 3rd to 4th. This is a circuit of compromises. 3 corners, all of them different. Very asymmetrical layout here. Pocono trying to find his way around Austin Reedy and Jordan Barabee as Jeff Yinich also falls down to him. Dylan Roberts set the fast lap of the race last lap. Trying to close in on the race leaders. Top 5, single file. That is your only moment of peace at the moment. And cautioned out again. And this is why Eli Sasek, making his first start of the season, has found himself wrong way around. And he's not alone. Philip Snipes, Tom Millette, and Thomas Lewandowski also involved. And Lewandowski apparently had the worst part of it. So the second yellow out tonight. Let's take a look as to what happened to the 71, the 80, and others. This is through the tunnel turn. Sasek behind Christina Ryan. Turn 2 has been struggle corner. It's Lewandowski on his own. And just a hard hit. Brandon Cruz is a huge piece of it as well, the 20. See Tom Willett in the grass taking rallycross jumps there. Pretty hard hit. So it's Lewandowski where it starts. And this is why you see the 40 just come up the racetrack, completely overshot and missed turn 2 altogether. That's Dan Breckus that got Lewandowski up into the fence there. And Sasek gets clipped. I'd say that's latency. It's net code that turns to 71. Not latency induced there between the 2 and the 80, and that's sort of what does them in. And the Cruz nowhere to go for him. Everyone just trying to scramble to avoid running into any of these spinning cars. So over half a dozen cars involved in the second caution of the night. With everyone dialing things in, Larry Pace will inherit your race lead here in Pocono. As things currently stand, it's Larry Pace, Mike Rasmus, Evan Locke, Ryan Andrew, and Dan Breckus, the rookie, the debutant, dropping behind Michael Guest in that top 6 position. Michael Guest will round out your top 5, a former winner this season. A lot of drivers knowing how to hold their own here in the Winstel Cup Series campaign. A little bit further down the running order, you got Andy Trupiano, Colin Bowden, Colin Keister, Josh Chin, and Tyler Head, your top 10 at the moment as things sit. Lucas Davila, Nick Doucette, Sean Pellig, Gabriel Mauricio, Dylan Roberts, they were your top 15. Blake Cannon, Inley Howe, Jordan Barabee, Austin Reedy, Brandon McKissick, your top half of the field. Ahead of Jeff Yenich, who ends up 21st and did come down pit lane this time. Ryan Hill, Christina Ryan, Tom Willett, Andrew Ferrinares, Jose Solis Jr., Brennan McGee, Craig Lautenslager, Kirk Marble, Ryan Moyer. In your top 30, Parker Alexander, Alex Bates, Ryan Daly, Vincent Crowe, Dan Breckus, your top 35. Eli Sasek, Tyler Murray, Jacob Potak, Philip Snipes, Chris Champeau, your top 40. Last three, Brandon Cruz, Logan Kress, and Thomas Lewandowski, all on pit lane still getting repair work done here in Pocono. So you're ready to go racing. It'll be Larry Pace at the front of the field. For this restart, we'll be riding on board with Inley Howe. Reminder, one of the Patreon perks we got going on, unedited versions of the ABM Beyond the Driver's Seat podcast. Emily Howe, this week's guest for that podcast. She starts 17th. That podcast will be available on Thursday. Edited version on YouTube, unedited 2-hour version on Patreon. The green flag flies. Let's ride on board with a former Winstel 400 winner for this first lap back under green. First left there, you heard a lot of shifting there, down between fourth and third gear, not only in turn 1, but in turn 3 as well. You can see there in the little bottom right of your screen the speed and the gear that Emily Howe is in. Only 4 gears, so ignore gears 5 through 8. But you get an idea sort of what kind of movement is in play here. Third gear all the way down the short chute here towards turn 3. Didn't even go back up into fourth gear. Watch as Emily Howe ends up shifting back up into fourth near start finish line. There you go. Getting close to 205 miles an hour down in the draft here. Dylan Roberts trying to recover. Everyone out of position following these first couple of cautions and the pit stop sequences that resulted from them. Your front row, side by side, but now they're battling for 14th. Same way here, Emily Howe battling with Brandon McKissick. McKissick on the bottom of the racetrack. Emily Howe running up the racetrack and losing out on a spot there to McKissick. That is 417. McKissick up 21 spots in this race. Andy Trupiano is up 29 places, your biggest mover behind Michael Guest, who is on his way into the top 5 once again. Michael Guest now up 31 places. So some pretty big movers throughout the field at the moment. Three wide, further back, it's Mauricio, Trupiano, and Cannon. Three wide towards the tunnel turn, down the long pond straightaway. A little bit of contact there. Trupiano goes super wide and will lose out on 3 spots to Mauricio, Cannon, and Roberts. Doucette and McKissick, they fight behind Trupiano now. Tyler Head looking for real estate. The 4 car, you saw him really high up the racetrack in turn 3, trying to defend his 7th position. Davila battling with Mike Rasmus. Davila getting away pretty well. Mike Rasmus had a little bit of a checkup. It checked everyone up behind. 3 wide, 2 rows. Hello, contact between Peleg and Roberts. As they were both trying to find a way around Blake Cannon, neither will do so. Cannon in 10th, Peleg 11th, Roberts 12th, Mauricio 13th, McKissick 14th, Josh Chin top 15. A lot of battles in the field. It's just not at the very front. Larry Pace, comfortable, comparatively speaking. It's a top 2 conversation between Larry Pace and Evan Locke. And the caution's out for the 3rd time as we talk about it. Austin Reedy, Dan Breckus, and Alex Bates involved. And this is in the tunnel turn. The 4096 pirouette spinning to get turned back around. Looks like Austin Reedy's got the most damage, so we'll focus on him. And we take a look as to what happened for a 3rd caution of the evening. Into the tunnel turn. Not a good angle is what happened to Jordan Barabee there. Solis just unable to check up in time. Turns the 96 around. Where did Dan Breckus get involved? Oh, that's why the checkup. Alex Bates was able to check up. Dan Breckus couldn't see. And so they both go fence side. Probably the softest impact for Alex Bates. It's door to door. That is where most of his damage is, side to side. Whereas both Reedy and Breckus fenced it pretty well head on there. On board with Dan Breckus. You see the puffs of smoke. He was out of the gas, to his credit. He was out of the gas. Just couldn't get woed up in time. You hear a little bit of scraping, the bodywork scraping off the asphalt. Now look here from Austin Reedy. We'll look at his onboard as he battles with Jordan Barabee. Didn't really have anything to do with Austin Reedy. Barabee just went in hot in turn 2 and got loose. And that's where Austin Reedy gets clobbered by the 40 of Breckus. We'll take one more look here at Alex Bates and his onboard. Because he is sort of just a bystander in this situation. Gets passed by Eli Sasek. Tries blowing up. You see he gets wobbly blowing up too. So he stands on the brakes and has to try to keep it under control. It takes a lot to woe these 3,400-pound stock cars on a dime, and Alex Bates paid for it a little bit because not everyone was able to sort of see it. So a bunch of cars on pit lane. A lot of damage there for Austin Reedy. Still on pit lane is Dan Breckus, Logan Kress, Philip Snipes. Jacob Potak's day is over, it looks like here. So the Feast of Famine Season 4, your defending Winstel Cup Series champion, is continuing. Under caution for the third time here at Pocono. It is Josh Chen that now leads the way. The only driver that stayed out under this caution. Everyone else came down pit lane. Ryan Andrew, Tyler Head, Jeff Yinich back in the top 5. Ahead of Emily Howe, who rounds out the 5th position. Eight spots remain in the HTL Challenger Series grid for the season beginning on Tuesday, May 12th on the high banks of Daytona. 24 trucks already in, 8 spots to fill over the next couple weeks. 14 races, all of them here on ABN on YouTube. Daytona, North Wilkesboro, Atlanta, Las Vegas, Fontana, Kentucky, Kansas, Charlotte, Talladega, Darlington, Indianapolis, Nashville, Michigan, and Miami. It is the greatest hits for those trucks this season. The third season of HTL Truck Series competition begins May 12th here on ABN. If you want to be involved, the QR code bottom of your screen can help you do just that. So come in and join us as we bring truck racing back to HTL for the first time in 2 years. It's time to get down to business on Tuesday nights. It's also time to get down to business here in Pocono, Long Pond, Pennsylvania, ready to come alive once again with the sound of roaring V8s. Josh Chen, Ryan Andrew, Tyler Head, Jeff Yinich, and Emily Howe lead us back to green. We're underway. And immediately Josh Chen loses a spot to Ryan Andrew, who drives it super deep through turn 1 and makes it stick. But here comes Tyler Head, and it's 3 wide behind already. Keister, Yinich, and Howe in that conversation. Almost 3 wide for the lead in turn 2. And it's elbows out, rated E for everyone. 3 wide, it's lock pace, with Michael Guest shooting through the gap in the middle. Almost 4 wide further back. They thought about it at turn 3. Instead, it'll be 3 wide. As if it's so much better here at Pocono. I believe that's Sean Pellick, Blake Cannon, and Brandon McKissick 3 wide for a moment. They sort down to two wide, double file. Down the front straightaway, McKissick drifts up the racetrack. Opens the door for Dylan Roberts to try to push his way through. Mauricio and Doucette also in that battle, just outside the top 10 for the top 15. Larry Pace struggling here. Getting swarmed on this restart. Pace trying to hang on there to Michael Guest as Tyler Head tries to go for the race lead. Battles down the long pond straightaway towards the tunnel turn. Turn 2 has been a busy place this afternoon. And Tyler Head has the favorable line around the racetrack here. Tries to power through. How low can you go out of turn 3? Tyler Head gets the race lead. Can he get clear? No, he cannot. He'll take a little bit of help from Colin Kieser to do so, and he does, entering turn 1. But now he's got to keep an eye out on the 12. He's going to dive it through turns 1 and almost at turns 1 and 2. There's no turn 4 here. They painted it on the walls for a reason. Side by side, it's Head versus Keister. Car on the fence, Blake Cannon further back. Checks up Rasmus, checks up Davila. Whoa, a little bit of contact, a little bit of conversation between the bodywork of Tyler Head and Colin Keister. Here comes Ryan Andrew to the conversation, and here comes Tyler Head's teammate for Morgan McClure. That's the 04, the debutant, Colin Bowden in the 04. They'll be side by side out of turn 2, but it's Ryan Andrew back to the point. Only 2 official retirements. Make that 3 official retirements. Only 2 official retirements. Philip Snipes and Jacob Potek, the only cars out here in Pocono. Lewandowski on the racetrack, multiple laps down, but running, because he needs to try to gain points for that top 35 conversation. He's currently outside looking in. Brandon Cruz also still running, despite being 5-6 laps down. And Lewandowski back down the pit lane. Trouble back straight away. I believe this was supposed to be, I think, Mauricio McKissick, maybe? Dylan Roberts coming down pit lane immediately. It looks like it's going to be for car 8. So up near the front of the field. Part of your front row in trouble here. So what happened to Dylan Roberts? Out of turn 2 again. You see him sliding. And he gets tagged. I think that's by Davila. It is, the 19. This was just ahead of McKissick and Mauricio, who went into the grass. McKissick did get a pretty decent piece of it, bouncing off Erasmus. But it is heavy contact there for the 8, for the 42, who got a significant piece, and the 78. Mauricio gets through. Jose Solis Jr. hits the fence. And it's our 4th caution of the evening here in Pocono. Ready on board them. That contact to the left side is going to really hurt. Driver's side contact there with Rasmus is what's really going to hurt the 8. The contact with Solus is going to hurt a little bit just because it wasn't flush. But that left side's going to do a lot of the damage. A lot of cars coming down pit lane. We'll look at Christina Ryan, who had a pretty good near miss here of the situation. Car 84. Pick a lane, pick a lane, pick a lane, and find your way through. And that's exactly what the 84 car did. Trying to just avoid the melee and survive. Take a look at Jose Solis Jr., his on board, because he gets a piece of it. Michelle Pennzoil on board of the 29, your points leader. Almost got clear of both Davila and Roberts. Got clipped at the very end, which is so unfortunate. And we'll look on board with Brandon McKissick. He gets a pretty significant piece. Not insignificant, that damage. He's still on pit lane getting repair work done at the moment. A lot of cars on pit lane. Pretty significant accident there. You see the damage done to the groundwork here at Pocono Raceway. Top 5, Colin Keister, Colin Bowden, Josh Chin, Michael Guest, and Evan Locke at the front of the field here. We have completed 30 laps. This will be completing lap 31 of 50. Nick Doucette, Brendan McGee, Ryan Andrew, Larry Pace, Gabriel Mauricio. They ran out your top 5. Brandon Cruz, multiple laps down. You see the damage on his number 20 machine. He will line up to the inside. Lap cars will all be to the inside lane. Austin Reedy could not stay on the lead lap, so he will go to the inside. I think he's going to go to the back of the field because he exited behind the pace car. He'll go to the end of the longest line. Tyler Head, Tom Millette, Emily Howe, Ryan Moyer, Blake Cannon on the outside of the top 10. Looking in on this restart with less than 20 laps to go. It'll be 18 to go at the line. Sean Pelle, Christina Ryan, Ryan Hill, Andy Trupiano, and Kirk Marble are your top half of the field here in the Pocono Mountains. Jordan Barabee, Southern Murray, Craig Lautenslager, Vincent Crow, and Ryan Daly, your top 25. Then you'll find Alex Bates in that Burger King number 00 ahead of Lucas Davila, Andrew Ferranos, Chris Champeau, Eli Sasick, top 30. 31st, Jeff Yinich, alongside Jose Solis Jr. there. 31st, 32nd, Parker Alexander, Mike Rasmus, Logan Kress, and Brandon McKissick, your last car on the lead lap. Lap down or worse for Austin Reedy, Dylan Roberts, Brandon Cruz, Dan Breckus, Thomas Lewandowski, Philip Snipes, and Jacob Potak. It's time to go back racing. We're underway once again here in Pocono. Keister leading the way over Bowden. Michael Guest in third. Nick Doucette in fourth. Evan Locke holding on to that top 5 ahead of Ryan Andrew. And the Hornets' nest is right here. Josh Chen down the pit lane. Getting service is the 60. Thought this was a penalty. I'm not sure if it is or not. Not seeing anything saying that there is a penalty for Josh Chen. But a pit stop for the 60 moves him well down the running order as Keister leads over Bowden, Guest, Doucette, and Locke. Andrew, Pace, Mauricio, McGee, and Head, your top 10. Emily Howell working against Tom Ouellette for 11th spot. Down the front straightaway they go. You can see from the spotter cam just how expansive this 2.5-mile racetrack is. Down this front, down the Long Pond straightaway, now they go. Three wide for position, getting around Evan Locke. Almost still 3 wide. Evan Locke was trying to hold on there. Unfortunately, couldn't quite hold on. And what's slot in behind Ryan Andrew as Nick Doucette also gets clear, and that Menard's 15. Slightly damaged, but still holding on strong in now the top 5 for the Canadian. 3 Canadians in the top 10. Doucette, Pace, and McGee. McGee battling though with Emily Howell for that 10th spot. Emily Howell trying to surge forward, up 7, if she can make this pass stick. And she does. That a turn 1. Good move. Teammates, fellow countrymen for the Great White North. Larry Pace becomes the lead Canadian in the field ahead of Nick Doucette. I wish I had a graphic for the best Canadians in the field at the moment, like they do with Toyota and Chevrolet and all those. Unfortunately, didn't think that far ahead. But Larry Pace battling around Evan Locke, and here comes Doucette down pit lane. Are they making pit stops under green because of the pit window? I think that's a possibility because Josh Chen also made a pit stop, and it wasn't a penalty because he came down for service. If it was a drive-through or a stop-and-go, you wouldn't be getting service. It is very strange because we just had pit stops on lap 30 for a huge chunk of the field. Absolutely wild. Corey Steinhauser, who failed to qualify for this race, has been dominating the second split races in Winstel in the meantime. Kind of confirming the thought is that it could be a 15-lap fuel window. And Lucas Dabla's in too. So yes, this is 100%. This is a strategy play for some drivers coming in early while pit lane is clear. They're not having to worry about checkups on pit lane by coming in early on this run and just going to the end from there. You're on your own when you come out of pit lane, but you're hoping that you make up a lot of the time on pit lane. And if all else fails, a caution would force everyone else to come back in and you'd leapfrog ahead of them under the caution pit stop cycle. I'm assuming that's the thought process. Down pit lane, Bowden. 100% they're coming down pit lane for fuel. They are not able to make it to the end from lap 30. They cannot go 20 laps. 100%. Colin Keister on lap 22. So Colin Bowden, who we just saw come down pit lane in the 04, did not come down on that last pit stop sequence. He last pit on lap 22 with Colin Keister. So they definitely couldn't make it. Evan Locke in the same boat. Michael Guest also on lap 22, so they've got pit stops coming up pretty quickly here. Two-tire stop for Bowden. 10.32 was the timer on the pit stop there for Bowden. I think that's a fair call. If you're filling up with fuel, 2 tires typically is done in that time frame. We'll let McGee all in. McGee pit on lap 30. That's a very telling sign. Lap 30 cars not able to make it. Keister leads the way, though, comfortably by 1.6 seconds over Ryan Andrew, Larry Pace, Evan Locke. But it seems like pit stops are guaranteed for everybody still in the last 10 laps here in Pocono. It'll be exciting to see how this all plays out. Really is. And there's the mass of cars coming down pit lane. Keister, Locke, Head, Mauricio, Willett, Barabee, Lautenslager, all down pit lane right now. Ryan Andrew, new race leader. More cars coming down pit lane. That is Eli Sasek coming down pit lane from the top 20. Coming to 9 laps to go. Here we go. Larry Pace to the front. Looking for a race win. Track position is crucial right now. Larry Pace drives around Ryan Andrew for the front of the field. Car 1 is P1, but do pit stops have a say in how they come out of pit lane? Coming down pit lane, Emily Howe. Howe down pit lane. Peleg down pit lane. Christina Ryan down pit lane, Ryan Hill, Ryan Moyer down pit lane. A lot of your cars coming down pit lane. Vincent Crowe, Ryan Daly, Chris Champeau. Trupiano stays out. Yinich, Sola stays out. Rasmus stays out. Logan Crest stays out. Tyler Murray, Andrew Ferrinares, they all stay out to become your top 11. Where will they all cycle out in the last 10 laps of the Pocono 500? Ryan Andrew came in. He was the only driver to come in that time. And we'll do y'all a little bit of a favor here. We're going to pull up our handy-dandy track map on the right side of your screen to show you where everyone is at on the racetrack. It is a very spread-out procession at the moment. Through the tunnel turn is where you'll find Ryan Andrew. He's got a little bit of space to the cars behind. That's real fine. Blake Cannon, Kirk Marble, and Andy Trupiano. They're going to try to go as close to the end of the race as they can. That is their hope. They're hoping they get bailed out by something. "35 cars on the lead lap. First car a lap down would be Jordan Barabee. One second is the gap at the front of the field. We got a battle further back between Peleg and Guest. This is for the 16th spot on the road, but remember, top 11 have yet to come down the pit lane for their final stop. They're hoping they don't need a final stop. I would hazard to guess They might need to. Battle further forward as well. Yeah, that is Mike Rasmus and Jose Silas Jr. Rasmus still carrying damage from that caution earlier. That also affected Jose Silas Jr. Both of them stayed out. Both of them hoping that they have an extra lap in the tank to get to the end here. Very reminiscent a couple years ago of the race in Homestead, where the top 10 stayed out in that race and finished in the top 10, had the spacing to save and get there. Very similar. Jose Silas Jr. was part of that group that excelled. He won that race in Homestead that day. He's in the same strategy call right now, surging forward, trying to get into the top 5, has to get around Jeff Yenich, who is having a career day so far in the 27 car, 25th in points, started this race dead last, and he is now up in the top 5 at the moment. He's led laps today, grabbed those bonus points during caution. A top 10 gives him a decent level of security going into the race next week in New Hampshire. Next 2 races, New Hampshire, Mother's Day we have off, and then Chicagoland after that. Down pit lane, Logan Kress. He could not make it. And caution's out. Oh, caution's out. And it's for the 48. And that's a lot of damage on the 48 of Sean Pellig. A lot of damage to the 48. The front of the end of that car looks pretty beat up. And we're going to take a look as to why. And it's the contact out of turn 3 between Ryan Andrew and Sean Pellig. Not a great angle here down the front straightaway. We'll have to go to the spotter's cam above the broadcast booth here in Pocono. But this will pull the field together. Thankfully, everyone avoids the 48. Stationary middle of the racetrack. Very wide front straightaway. Gives you the space you need. Logan Kress is already in pit lane, so he could take his pit stop and be fine. He is bailed out by that. Let's try a up above view. I don't think this is going to work. Let's back it up the camera. Let's see. Do we have a blimp cam or something? That's not helpful. How about chopper? There we go. That'll do. Sean Pellig, he's loose. He is loose on his own. They're both battling pretty loose here. Sean is loose mid-corner, chases up the racetrack. I can't particularly say that's on Ryan Andrew all the way, because Sean's chasing the car up the racetrack from the bottom to the top of the racetrack, and Andrew's there the full way. Andrew does come down on the exit, because he is battling that car getting loose as well on the exit of the corner. There's a lot of run up the hill for the 48. I think that's racing deal. Just using my untrained eyes here. Obviously, the stewards will look at it after the race. That feels a lot like a racing deal, unfortunately. And it affects both of their races. The 48's more negatively. They're both top 10, looking pretty safe. And with a handful of laps to go, you want to talk about playing it bold. Jeff Yenich and Andrew Farinair stay out. Bold and brash, but if you're Jeff Yenich, you are 35th with not a whole lot to lose. Either this works for you or it doesn't. We are approaching the point of no return. For those that are new to Winstel Racing, what does that mean? There is one attempt at overtime. We call it ABN Overdrive. 2 laps No cautions. Any wrecks will be investigated post-race by the Winstel staff. But you got 2 laps to figure it out. Everyone knows it is broadcasted via all driver channels when you have hit that point of no return, when we have hit overdrive. So Jeff Yenich and Andrew Ferrinares, they're gambling. Colin Keister, Parker Alexander. Top 4, Colin Bowden, the debutant, top 5. Importantly, no one in your top 18 came down pit lane. Blake Cannon, the first car down pit lane, in 19th position. Those that stayed out, bottom of your screen, as Brandon Cruz gets a wave around. He gets one of those laps back that he was down. Tyler Head, 6th. Michael Guest, 7th. Emily Howe, 8th. Mauricio, 9th. Tom Willett in 10th. Christina Ryan, close to the top 10, ahead of Brendan McGee. Evan Locke in 13th. Nick Doucette and Lucas Davila rounds out your top 15. The Argentine trying to put together a result. It will be a bit of a chaotic run to the finish here. Alex Bates, Ryan Moyer, Chris Champeau, the last cars to stay out under this caution. Blake Cannon, the first of those to come down pit lane. And it's 2 tires only for a lot of that group. Important distinction, Evan Locke came down pit lane and took 4 tires. Brendan McGee took 2 tires. Christina Ryan took 2. A lot of the field took 2 tires for their last pit stops. 4-tire stop for Evan Locke on lap 40. I think that 33 has a really good shot. Just realistically speaking here. I think the 33 has a realistic shot of having a really good result. Fresh tires on all 4 corners compared to the 2 corners on the rest of the field. Larry Pace in 22nd, first car on 4 tires as well. That just came down pit lane on lap 47. So very important to try to make things happen across the last 5 miles. We are in overdrive. It is Yenich and Ferrinares leading the field to green on the oldest tires of them all. The pace car pulls in. And the green flag flies. We're back underway here in Pocono. Wheel spin for Yenich. And here comes the field. 4 wide already. They fan out like it's a champ car race. 5 wide for a moment. And trouble! Huge crash! Huge crash! In turn 1 immediately. Cars crashing everywhere. Huge crash continues at turn number 1. Over 20 cars crashed. This bunch is your battle for the race lead. Keister, Guest, Bowden, Ferrinares, Mauricio, Howe, Ryan, McGee, Locke. Your top 9, Davalos. Your top 10. Your top 10 are all in this group. That's all that's left. Coming to the white flag. 1 lap to go in Pocono. Keister and Guest, first and second. Both of them have already won this season. Trying to win again. Car on the outside lane, trying his best on the outside. We stay focused at the front. Couldn't identify that car. The car ended up being Emily Howe. She dropped positions. For some reason, I thought it was Philip Snipes, and he's been off the racetrack for the better part of 45 laps. At a tunnel turn. Down the short chute towards turn 3 for the final time. Colin Keister is going to grab his 3rd career win in Winstel if Michael Guest can't get to him. Driving out of the corner, coming for home. Colin Keister wins the Pocono 500. Michael Guest 2nd. Colin Bowden on debut gets the podium. Gabriel Mauricio, Christina Ryan, top 5 here at Pocono. Evan Locke, Lucas Davila, Brendan McGee, Emily Howe, Andrew Ferrinares, your top 10 from the tricky triangle, and there's not a lot of cars left running here. A lot of wounded race cars. Whoa, huge trouble. Who was that made contact? Tyler had obviously got sent to the fence. Oh my goodness. A lot of pent-up aggression and hurt feelings here in Pocono following the disaster on the restart. It is third career win for Colin Keister. Third this season for the 12. And this could be the result that helps put the 12 season back on track. The Feast or Famine season does allow the 12 to begin feasting once again here in Pocono as he burns it down on the front straightaway. He is victorious here at Pocono. Colin Keister, your race winner here tonight. A wacky final 2 laps. We're going to go over the results and we'll look at how those last 2 laps played out because, my goodness, what a wacky way for this to end. Colin Keister, Michael Guest, Colin Bowden. We'll hear from our podium finishers here in just a moment. Gabriel Mauricio, Christina Ryan, Evan Locke, Lucas Davila, Brendan McGee, Emily Howe, and Andrew Ferrier is your top 10 here in Pocono. They pretty much decided the top 10 amongst themselves after that crash on the restart. Beyond 10th place, it gets a little bit more hairy. Andrew Cipriano, 11th. Ryan Moyer, Larry Pace, Jose Solis Jr., your points leader, 14th. Tom Willett, 15th. Vincent Crowe on his debut in 16th, ahead of Craig Lautenslager. Eli Sasek, Sean Peleg, and Ryan Hill round out your top 20 here at the Tricky Triangle. Logan Kress, 21st. Parker Alexander, 22nd. Josh Chin, Alex Bates, Nick Doucette, Jordan Barabee, Tyler Head, Brandon McKissick, Ryan Daly, and Chris Champeau, the top 30. Not everyone in this group finishes on the lead lap. Not everyone sees the checkered flag here tonight. Blake Cannon, Jeff Yenich, Mike Rasmus, Tyler Murray, Kirk Marble, Austin Reedy, Dylan Roberts, Ryan Andrew, all having their races capsized at the end here. Brandon Cruz, Dan Breckus, they ran out your top 40. Thomas Lewandowski, Philip Snipes, and Jacob Potak at the end of the race. They do not see the finish. They didn't even get past lap 20. Lewandowski completed 16 laps. Snipes completed 14. Potak completed 13. We do want to take a chance before we interview. That doesn't affect the top 3. They got away pretty well scot-clear here. But we do want we'd be remiss not to review the last 2 laps of this race, especially the crash on the restart on lap 50. So we're going to give it one preview here. And it was a wild ride. Everyone fanning out. This is my above. And you can see immediately everyone just looking for space to go 5 wide for a brief moment. And this is where it all begins. Bowden turns down across the nose of Parker Alexander. Alexander clips the 4 of Tyler Head. And an ugly crash ensues here as everyone behind Evan Locke gets involved. And it just gets worse from there. Alex Bates gets a piece of it. Your pole sitter, Blake Cannon, gets a huge piece of it. Cipriano gets really close. Nowhere for Kirk Marble to go. Solis does get a piece of it. And it just snowballs. It just snowballs from there. That's the track completely blocked. And most of the field is behind this. It is just an absolute disaster of everyone trying to get through. Very few do. Huge contact there between, I believe that's the 22 of Champeau and the 07 of Tyler Murray. Both of them go up. Ryan Daly, the 72, gets thrown up over a car, almost flips off of it. That's the 40 of Dan Breckes that went under him. But you see the carnage that was left at a turn one. This was insanity that was seen similarly in a similar fashion last year here at Pocono. But you see the group that was left. This was your top 10 after that accident. They were isolated to their own devices to capitalize on the mistakes. And so great points day for everyone involved here. For Colin Keister, fantastic day. Couldn't get much better if he tried. For Michael Guest, also a fantastic day. Colin Bowden, his debut couldn't get a whole lot better, despite the fact that he was part of the cause of the accident there. Mauricio, after missing Martinsville, this is a big pick-me-up for him in the 5 machine. Christina Ryan, another top 5, her second top 5 this season after her podium in Fontana. Evan Locke, his best finish this season. Same goes for Lucas Davila. McGee and Emily Howe, their top 10 efforts and points are helped significantly tonight. And Andrew Ferriners, at 10th place, not great, but given he was, trying to hang in there in the points, he'll take a 10th, I think, any day of the week. Andy Tripiano, Ryan Moyer, they were the best of the rest that were involved in the accident. 11th and 12th for them, as much as they're going to be upset that they weren't able to be a part of this top 10 conversation, it could be a lot worse for them. And that was the run coming to the white flag. Absolute insanity all the way through. Just absolutely wacky. But we do get to talk to our podium finishers here tonight. Let's start with third place debutant Colin Bowden in that 04. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name right. There's 2 different ways of pronouncing it. I'm just sort of taking a stab at it here. But a phenomenal debut for the 04 camp. Obviously jumping in for the first time. Qualified third, finished third. There's a story in between that's pretty wacky for that 04 car. Walk us through it.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun first race. I mean, these cars are more than a handful. It was just playing that strategy right. We were on the wrong end of it. We should have pitted that caution before, but we got lucky with caution, set up the green-white checkered, and then just old tires. It was just a chaotic start. I don't know what happened in the one. I felt like I left enough room for 3 wide below. I think we just kind of came together there. But, yeah, I mean, it was a fun race. I didn't have anything for Keister. He was good. I couldn't figure out how to get through turn 3, but to take a top 3 away in the first start is we'll take that. I had a fun night.
These cars are an absolute blast. Obviously, you're jumping in here about midway through the season. So for you, it's just sort of soaking in, getting the experience, trying to get top 35 to lock in for next season here. Pocono's a hard race to do that, but the gauntlet is sort of laid out for you here. A fantastic start, P3 at the start, P3 at the finish. The car tomorrow, you get to make your debut in that car next week at New Hampshire. Split races between the Gen 4 tonight and the car tomorrow next week. What's the feeling going into that? Obviously, everyone excited to be doing the season. Over 80 people have tried to race so far this season. I'm assuming the COT has to be appealing to you as well.
Yeah, when we raced the last time I raced the COT competitively, other than like Daytona and Talladega, I was really, really good in it, but that was probably 2 or 3 years ago now. So hopefully if we have that speed again, it'll be pretty fun. But those cars were always pretty fun anyway, 900 horsepower in a car that didn't really want to do anything. So New Hampshire should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I can make it. And like I said, we're trying to stack as much points as we can to make top 35, I guess. But it's a late start here, so we got to really keep these finishes going.
Results like this, third to open up, definitely help bode well for the situation. This has been a very hotly contested season, so any advantage is a very big one for the 04 camp. That being said, you are one of the newer drivers here, several debutants here. You were just one of several. the best finishing of the group. For those that maybe aren't familiar on ABN of what you do, sort of beyond the Gen 4 and the COT that you're going to be racing in Winstel, what else sort of do you have going on here that you race in?
Not much these days. We're retired from Coke. We're no longer good enough for that. Race a little bit every now and then, try once every couple of nights, but it's just not as much as it used to. Just what it hadn't been as much fun recently on iRacing, but this league, the car, and so far it's pretty fun to drive. So hopefully we can keep that going and have something fun to do again.
It's been a lot of fun so far this season. 9 races in, we get through Pocono, and you are in third. Before we let you go, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Welcome to Winstel, officially a phenomenal way to make your entrance P3, start and finish here in Pennsylvania.
Yep, I just thank you all for having me. That was pretty much it.
A phenomenal job for Colin Bowden. P3, start and finish for Car 04. We'll see him again, hopefully, next week in New Hampshire. He'll have to try to race into the field. Colin, congratulations.
Thank you.
And we will move on to the runner-up. Michael Guest was looking for his second career win in the modern Winstel era. Fell just a little bit short to Colin Keister here tonight. That being said, survived the chaos, survived the melee, up 34 spots tonight. He is our biggest mover of the day. Michael Guest, a phenomenal drive in that 46 Weiler Toyota. Walk us through that race. It was a bit of a head turner tonight.
Yeah, that was no joke. Starting in the back was definitely tough. I had to get creative on how I wanted to get myself to the front within our limited 50-lap race here. So luckily for, I guess, myself, there were quite a few cautions to shake the strategies up tonight, and I was able to stay out on one of those and get a pretty quick caution thereafter to get back on cycle, so I didn't lose too much. But yeah, that's what kind of got me in the race, and from there I definitely wasn't the fastest car tonight. I think Bowden and Keister were pretty fast up front, with Larry and a couple others as well. So I'm just happy that I missed the wreck with 2 to go there. I restarted 7th, got a really good restart, and luckily I chose to go high and was far enough up to where I didn't get just nailed and caught up in that wreck. So can't complain. That was the difference right there between a second place finish and probably a 30th place finish.
What a wild start this season. Obviously, coming in, had to qualify your way in the first few races. You get into the top 35, and it sort of just sets sail from there. This race was going to help significantly for you to try to get closer to that top 10. Everyone in that conversation trying to get into the chase. New Hampshire next week is going to be challenging of its own different volition. The COT being used next Sunday at the Magic Mile. What's the feeling going into that, being able to keep this momentum up? Because again, it's beginning to sequence these results together. Now that we've gotten into the mid part of the season, it's everyone's finding their rhythm. How important is it to continue this going into New Hampshire, having to go back to the car tomorrow and sort of jump back and forth between the two?
Yeah, of course. I had some bad time management last week and ended up missing last week's race, which put me back in the points a little bit to begin with for tonight. So, yeah, definitely just trying to stay smart and finish these races without getting caught up in those kind of wrecks. So you do as much as you can. I feel like I have a pretty good feel of both the Gen 4 car and the COT on iRacing here. So, I mean, each time it switches, I'm excited for either car. I think I might even prefer the COT right now. So just because of the extra horsepower that it gives, just something a little bit more unique, since there's already a Gen 4 official series on iRacing, even if that's a different car. So yeah, pretty excited for it. I'm hoping we have some green flag racing next week in New Hampshire. I think it will hopefully be a little bit cleaner than what tonight was. I know at New Hampshire we'll have to race the car a little bit more than we were racing other people at a track like Pocono. And I feel like anytime we have to race the car more, we have better racing. So yeah, looking forward to next week.
Gonna be a lot of fun. Obviously, I think preferring the COT, not hard to fathom here. After all, your first win came in the car tomorrow a few weeks ago. Before I let you go and let you prepare for the next COT race in New Hampshire, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Always fun seeing that 46 car drive around. Obviously, Weiler, a local company for Avian Studios, so always fun to see everything represented here for the 46 camp.
Yeah, of course. You all for broadcasting and just Winstel for running the league. I say it every time, but there's not much where you can get this type of experience, and especially mocking a 20-year-old series. So happy to be here every week.
It'll be a lot of fun to see how the Magic Mile handles the Winstel Cup Series field next Sunday here on YouTube. Michael Guest, second place finisher. He'll try to get his second race win in the COT next weekend. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then it's the man of the hour we'll talk to for the third time this season tonight in the 12 camp for Penske Racing. It's Colin Keister, the 12, victorious. Qualified this race in the top 5, but it was an up and down day, surviving the chaos, stayed ahead of the chaos at the end, and made sure that victory was absolute at the end here at Pocono. Colin, walk us through it. That was a wild race, a very frantic race, but very energetic tonight.
Yeah, definitely a wild finish there. Glad to bring home the win. Yeah, we just tried to stay on the right side of the strategy there. We're really fast, but never really got a chance to stretch our legs on the long run. So just had to try to play it right. Right there, that last yellow came out with about 20 to go, and we decided to stay out. And I think there was a couple guys that could have made it, but we got lucky with the yellow coming out with 5 to go. Restarted in third, and chaos ensued into turn 1, and luckily we were able to get clear of the pack and bring it on home.
Third race win of the season. We know how quick that 12 car can be, whether it was, Daytona, Vegas. This car has pace all the time, but it's been difficult to find those results and put them back to back to back to back to back. It's been a bit quiet for the 12 car the last couple weeks. A result like this, how much does this help as far as just resetting the button here? Obviously, New Hampshire next week, then we have an off week for Mother's Day, and then we have Chicagoland and then spring break. How important is it to try to end off this first segment of the season on the right foot, knowing that time is beginning to run out as far as getting ready for the chase?
It definitely very important. I'm glad to get back on track. I'm hoping I got the technical difficulties figured out here, and just got to keep grinding and get back into the top 10 in points so we can get ready for the chase. And I think as long as we don't have anything else happen to us, our pace is there, and we should be able to compete for wins every week.
That's obviously going to be the aim here. A huge jump for Colin Keister in the points. A lot of the top 10 tonight involved in that accident at the end of the race. Before we let you go and let you get ready for that COT race at New Hampshire in 7 days' time, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congratulations on your third win this season. A lot of fun seeing that 12 car battle at the front of the field.
Thank you. Yeah, just want to say thanks to Winstel for putting on good races every week, and thanks to you guys at ABN for the good broadcast, and just want to say thanks to my good buddies Michael Guest and Colin Bowden. We pulled off a 1-2-3 finish there. That was pretty cool.
A fantastic job tonight indeed. Colin Keister, race winner here for the third time this season. He grabs the victory in Pocono Raceway. We'll see him again next weekend in New Hampshire for a race at the Magic Mile. Colin, congratulations. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
A phenomenal job for Colin Keister. And as he alluded to, all the top 3 former eNASCAR Cup Series drivers. That is a wild group to be a part of. Hard to beat, but it also makes those that finished in the top 10 alongside them feel a little bit more comparable in hindsight and retrospect, depending on however you want to put it here. But a wild race all the way through. Again, we'll kind of go over the top 10 one more time because the top 10 really excelled at capitalizing as the race fell away. It was Colin Keister, Michael Guest, and Colin Bowden, your top 3 here tonight. Catching up on the live chat here. First time I've looked at the live chat since the restart here. Yeah. We went over we did go over the replay of the crash. So we've went ahead and gone through that. What a race. But here's your top 10. Colin Keister, Michael Guest, Colin Bowden, Gabriel Mauricio, Christina Ryan, top 5. Evan Locke in 6th, his season best finish so far. Lucas Davila, Brendan McGee, Emily Howe, and Andrew Ferrinares rounding out your top 10 here tonight. That'll do it from us here from Pocono Raceway. Again, we want to give a huge, huge, huge shout out to the premium tier subs for us on Patreon that help keep the lights on for us as we go through our difficult times here in ABN Studios. Trade Ups Logan, Dogman2935, Nick Sora, B-Dogs, Eli Sasek, Jason Scott, Alfred Denny, Wicked Hobby 22, Philip Snipes, Blue Jade, Tyler Head, Colin McDonough. Thank you so much for your support over the last couple months. It's greatly appreciated. We'll be live on Patreon tomorrow for the HTL WL Challenge. That off-season series wraps up with the Gen 4 tomorrow night. We can't wait to go racing on Mondays once again. We'll be live again on YouTube on Thursday for the 5th Kart Indianapolis 500. And then we'll be back again next weekend. RX High Octane from Las Vegas on Saturday. And the Winstel Cup Series next weekend, next Sunday, from the Magic Mile, New Hampshire Motor Speedway, right here on YouTube. On behalf of Winstel, on behalf of all of his partners and everyone here at ABN Studios, I'm Carmen Sienna. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Have some fun this week. If we don't see you tomorrow, we'll see you next weekend. Until then, so long, everybody.